Welcome back to LatiNation. I'm your host, Humberto Guida. Now, up next, Queen Victoria Ortega was born Victor Martin Ortega, and at the age of 12, she was positively certain that she was a transgender person. However, she explains that she knew she was different long before then. As Victoria grew into adulthood, she also realized that it was her mission to help other transgender youth, especially those growing up in poor, often religious, and more conservative Latino communities. So she founded the Royal Court organization, which is about the advancement of LGBTQ communities through economic empowerment and artistic expression, and she continues that fight right here on LatiNation.
I am Queen Victoria Ortega, and I am from Boyle Heights here in East LA. And what I do for a living is that I use my intersectionality for the advancement of trans people. What that means is, during my day job, I work at a federally qualified health center that focuses on rendering services to the transgender community. And on my own time, I'm actually a part of several boards. My long-term goal is to run for office for city council from my neighborhood, actually. Well, the name that my parents give me is what we would refer to as a trans community as my dead name. So I usually don't disclose it. However, my name is Queen Victoria. I definitely wanted to create something that was for me, that was branded and that was for me, and that described what I stood for. Growing up in Boyle Heights, you know, obviously predominantly Latino. So my journey obviously was encapsulated within machismo. And having been born or assigned male at birth and saying, I don't want male privilege, I'm at the top of the pinnacle in the Latino structure, and I said no, that was a shock. But I think also the heritage and privilege of the family that I came from protected me from, you know, getting beat up or bullied, just out of respect to my dad. Because I was, you know, it was just me and my sister. Going off to school, for example, was definitely a wake-up call for me. I never finished, actually, college. I only went to high school. However, I've been able to accomplish what I have because of those tools of resiliency that were given to me by my parents. Yeah, of course, I faced discrimination and being pointed out. And it was going back to that center of walking in power. I like to call it whip. So I whip my hair, literally, and I walk in power. Everywhere I go, and my parents taught me that. They taught me wherever you go, you walk with your head held high. And not only are you a woman, you're a trans Latina woman. And that's what helped me navigate those things. I've always been the one that's not afraid to say, hey, what about my peeps? And I've always been the person not afraid to rattle things up and to challenge people. It's part of who I am, and I'll continue to do so. I took a vow to continue to represent my community, and I'm going to do that. So when I joined Flux and the division of Flux, which aims to leverage events to raise the profile of the trans community, the trans and gender nonconforming community, it was a passion to me, and it was an opportunity for me. It was also an opportunity for our community to really use the global footprint that AIDS Healthcare Foundation has. Why not start including the voices of trans people? So it had an appeal to me already. Seeing a trans-identified role model that was brown, plus size like me, that's an overall chingona, as I like to say, that is badass. Unapologetically, I didn't have that. And I want youth to know that through Flux, they can see those pictures reflected too in our Inside and Out campaign. That's all people of color from across the country saying, I'm trans, I'm out, I'm doing other things, and I just happen to be trans, and I'm moving through the world, not only surviving, but we're thriving.